Hello, Prinny here, back with another video. I wasn't necessarily planning on doing a video about Hasna. I mentioned a bit of my feelings of her on a previous video. I got her as a random summon, and before I get too far into it, I wanted to go on a little tangent that should be purpose become clear soon. So when I first started, I had trouble getting any good magic attackers. I didn't get Inanna, which wasn't really good magic attacker, but I didn't get Nungul, I didn't get Beryl, and I had to settle with epics for a long time. And there are two fairly good single target magic attackers in the epic range. The first is Night Raven. She has this nice attack, Darkest Annihilation, 4 energy. Single target attack deals 180% damage. Before attacking, the character gains armor piercing for 1 turn, which ignores 40% of the target's defense when attacking. And I use this character specifically for the level 70 version of the magician that gives themselves the shield, because I need something to destroy the shields before the follow-up attack, because you gain a magical shield, and she was able to meet that criteria. The other one is probably went right past her. Flame Sorceress. Flame Sorceress. A single target attack deals 170% damage. If the target has Scorch, the damage increases to 200%. So this is also a strong attack that gets better if they have Scorched. 200% is like one of the strongest attack for even legendary characters, like having no cooldown, only just needs some way to get that energy, and she gives Scorch as part of her trait. You can see here I also got her the barn. I don't have I got a few copies, and I don't have Luvata, so I gave it to her. And Night Raven also has this trait where if she has the Hangman mark on the enemy, damage increases by 25%. So her already strong Darkest Annihilation gets boosted. And so how does this tie to Hasna? I'm blind, I probably went past her. Yep. Her ultimate. Single target attack, 140% damage. 4 energy, 140% damage. Damage dealt increases to 170% damage. Gets enemies with fragrance. And also gives a boost to crit and crit damage. See, like those other 2 epic units I mentioned, her damage goes up when the enemies have fragrance. Fragrance is a debuff that doesn't actually do anything. It just affects her skills when attacking a unit that has fragrance. And you can see, rather than boosting her damage, it makes it where her damage has parity to epic units. And this is like a common factor of all of her skills. Scented Trace does nothing without fragrance, other than, being able to give fragrance on attack. Only generic skills, like Dark Withering, don't have this flaw, like Murderous Phantom. Slightly better than Energy Wave. without fragrance. Even her trait has an aura that does nothing if the enemies don't have fragrance. And it'd be one thing if, like, fragrance activated at the start of her turn, but it activates at the end of her turn. So she's not particularly fast either, so she will apply fragrance on, and against most enemies by the time her turn comes around and she's able to attack again, they're probably, unless they're the boss, they're probably already dead. Like, you should be able to kill them before then. One way to help her out is the flight armband, and I believe also the roaring flint will work too. I don't think it's limited to single target. Yeah. So unlike Hangman's Mark, where there are multiple units that can give Hangman's Mark, and the units gets better when enemies have Hangman's Mark, only Hasna has fragrance, and she's already kind of mediocre unit who gets worse if she doesn't have fragrance. And unfortunately, her new Ascension skill doesn't really fix this. Like, it has an effect where if attacking an enemy with hidden fragrance, critical rate, critical damage are increased by 30%, which is really good. Like, if they have fragrance and you use this skill, that's like 45% each before you add in any other sort of auras, like an aura that increases their chance of being critical hit, or I think Seekers have a base critical chance. I don't know what it is, but it's, you know, with her second skill, she'll gain the ability to crit most of the time, most likely, depending on her skill setup. But that still requires her to have the enemy has fragrance, which this doesn't give her any new ways to give enemies fragrance. Best case scenario, you're star level 5, and she'll give fragrance to all enemies 5 tiles around her at the end of her turn. And then her aura goes up to attack and defense decreased by 15% within 5 tiles. Well, you got Magnus, like day 1 character at 5 stars who give attack and defense decreased by 15% within 4 tiles without needing any extra gimmicks. And if you just happen to have Magus as well, it doesn't stack with her fragrance, doesn't stack the aura of any other auras that might do the same. I believe SP Inanna, she has an aura that reduces it by 10% attack and defense. I'll just go ahead and double check that real quick. Actually give it, select the skill. Might say, oh, yeah, this is it. Yeah, so 3 tiles, 10%. So Hasna's trait is only slightly better than SP Inanna's skill that you don't usually equip her with. But I went over a lot of her problems, and one of the major issues that this new ascension skill doesn't solve. But there is one thing that makes it kind of interesting, something that you may consider going for. And that is, first off, after actively attacking, you gain 2 tears of liberation. Liberation is a new mechanic that is added during the Element arc, starting with Lucama. Remember, this is I'm talking about in CN, so Lucama has been out for about a month there. More than a month, but that's besides the point. And characters who were Element but existed before the Element faction will actually gain the Element faction. So that's Hasna, Akambe, and Homa. They'll keep their current factions and then gain a new one. So Liberation after attack, I'm not 100% sure, but I suspect that you'll be able to get an extra 2 layers by using Flying Arm Blade, because unfortunately she doesn't have any instant attack skills, which would have been good with Synod Trace, which is why so many people will give her Flying Arm. But of course, Flying Arm Blade only has 2 or 3 activations per battle. So, and in order for Liberation to do much, you need to have 10 stacks. With Hasna, her penetration skill will become one of the liberation-based skills that will interact with the liberation skill, similar to how Homa had the Harashina Carnival. When she uses the skill and has 10 or more layers liberation, it will increase her magic attack before attacking, and then after attacking will gain act again and recover 1 energy point. And then of course it consumes 10 of the stacks. So if you do the math, like first time you use it, if you have Arm Guard, you may be able to get it by turn 3. Then after that be turn 5, and after that the battle should probably be over. So 2 extra turns, considering that you have to farm for resources and all the other issues, would normally be like an easy skip. But there is one caveat, and that is Lucama. See, Lucama is considered the ultimate leader of the Element faction. As part of that, she has a skill that lets her give all Element units on the field, I'm not sure if that includes herself, 10 stacks of liberation. And the resources she needs to use to do this instant ability, she gains 5 at the end of her turn at 4 stars and 6 at the end of her turn at 6 stars. You can stack up to like 20. I believe at 5 stars, you start off with like 14 stacks. So that means like every other turn you can give Hasna and every other element you have on the field 10 liberation stacks, which she can then turn around and then do an act again. So then that combination makes Lucama act a bit like Espianana for Hasna. And of course other element units are pretty strong since they're the new hotness, and they would also benefit from these liberation stacks. But it's not like a single sum game since it gives it to everyone. So I believe that she could be a strong damage dealer if you're willing to work around the limitation of her fragrance. Um, well, I don't know if it'd be worth actually starring her up very much, since the main benefit she'd be getting would be the extra damage, and being able to apply fragrant easier and having a bigger effect with her attack and defense decrease. But even at 1 star, she still gets the gives 15%. I need to figure out if that chance of being critically hit 15% stacks with other auras that boosts critical hit chance. Because technically, this one is functioning as like a debuff, which normally debuffs and buffs of the same aura will stack effectively, just because they do different things. I don't know if there's any existing aura that increases an enemy's chance of being hit by a critical hit rather than boosting your allies' chance of being critically hit. But then again, at the same time, you're if you're using Hasna, it's probably as part of a element synergy team, so you're probably not going to be bringing Magnus or I mean, maybe you will, but Lufty's another character that has an aura that would compete with her, if assuming that this that they don't stack. He has something that boosts your allies' critical hit chance. I'm not even sure if it'd be worth taking her to 3 stars, because you're getting more of what she does. There's no real breakthrough where all of a sudden she gets this really cool ability that she didn't have earlier. It's just her trait gets slightly better. And if you're using the Flying Arm Guard, let's go ahead and take a look at this. You know, it's 2, yeah. So if you give her a 5-star one, you can use it 3 times per battle, and I believe it lasts for 2 turns. So that can give you 6 total turns of fragrance. But you only really need to do that if she had ended her turn next to the enemy beforehand. So against like a big boss, you want to move her in 3 tiles, throw the blade so she can get benefit from the fragrance on her first turn, and then just by staying within 3 tiles of them, you'll just be able to constantly reapply it every turn. So, you know, it is not impossible to deal with it, but at the same time, you're giving up a skill slot. So this is actually one of the better skills to put in the slot, because the recovering 2 energy, if you're going to be trying to double use penetrating multiple times a turn, like, okay, so if you have 5 energy and enemy, and you have like 10 stacks of liberation, you can move to an enemy, hit them with the Flying Arm Guard to give them fragrance, hit them with penetrating, get another turn, and since penetrating has a buff when liberation, where they get energy back plus 2 energy when attacking. So spent 4, gained 3 back. So went from 5 to 4. Could do it again, going from 4 to 3, which means you can't do it a third time unless you have Coco doing happiness. Which, if you did do happiness, you wouldn't be able to benefit if you started off with the flying arm guard. So, you know, it's just like every idea I come up with, there's some sort of small annoyance with it. I don't think there's any other skills that we need to talk about that I didn't take. Mostly skills. Roll assault. This is an alternative to Send a Trace, but you know, since you could do like Dark Withering, I believe that will give a bunch of enemies fragrance in conjunction of healing received and life loss. It's not something I think you'd be missing on. Okay, yeah, so nothing else I feel like I need to talk about. If you waited this long, maybe I'll give you some more examples of Hangman units that are improved. So, none of her skills really require Hangman Mark other than her aura. And since she gives Hangman's Mark at the beginning of her turn, at the end, instead of the end of the turn, up to 6 tiles instead of 5 tiles, it's a lot easier to get the mark, especially since there are other units that can also give Hangman's Mark. One trick I remember doing once is that I had one of those Hangman summons that Hangman Agent, and they have a skill that lets him swap spots with a doesn't show it here. Swap spots with an ally within like 8 range. It's like escape order or something. So I used a Guz scroll to make him go before Safi, swapped with Safi, so that she was in range of the enemies, and then at the beginning of her turn, they got Hangman's Mark, and then I went into Shadowless Blade. So then when she counterattacked them, they'd be triggered by they'd be damaged by her trait. She's a good character who gains a lot of her damage from her trait. But if a enemy doesn't have Hangman's Mark, you know, she can still dodge and counterattack. Or, she won't be a good damage dealer, but you know, she can summon an ally, summon a Hangman Agent, which will give them the Hangman's Mark, reduce their defense and match defense, and then the Hangman Agent will attack and trigger Blade Chase, doing 50%, and then activating it. So it's not like Hasna, where if the enemy doesn't have fragrance, she basically have no options other than to use a flying blade. Dinger's a pretty solid character. You know, he can give affections, shrapnel, he's highly mobile, gets a follow-up attack at the end of his turn that will, okay, I didn't take this skill, but like 70% damage, inflicts isolate, and block assist for 2 turns. Like that's a really strong attack. I didn't feel I needed it at the time. I had plenty of strong physical attackers that I could use, but that's just another character that increases damage by 20%. So a strong attack, like, it's better if the enemy has Hangman's Mark. And so this is just, maybe if we're lucky, if you wanted to gamble or just wait to see the future characters, maybe there'll be another character that applies fragrance or benefits from fragrance. But to be honest, the description of fragrance specifically when attacked by Hasna. So I think it's a safe assumption that there's no plans to have other characters benefit this. Otherwise, they probably release a lot closer than going to Element, but it's never say never. Another issue is keep in mind that you have to farm these resources. So I already want to farm up Homa, and I kind of want to farm up Karis. I'll probably have more time to decide if I feel I really need her to be that much stronger or not. And then trying to farm up by the time you got them up, maybe by the time you want to farm Hasna, there'll be a new unit. Like if Edda comes out with some crazy, well, now her skill causes all allies to act again. Not that actually happens. Like, oh well, forget farming up resources for Hasna. Element's dead. No, I don't think so. I think Element, in fact, should be strong for quite a while. They've been not only do they have Lucama, but there's some other good Element units, and I think a lot of them also count as Drifter. So that's why I think they gave Clara the Drifter leader aura rather than a Union leader aura. It's because it will fit more in the spot that she releases. Also, Lucama has a leadership aura for her faction as part of her trait. Okay, I'm getting off on a tangent here, so if you made it this far, I do appreciate watching this video, and thank you. Have a great day.